Tim, the injuries is just almost mind-boggling to some degree that you're dealing with. Have you guys, as a staff, looked at what you're doing or why guys are getting injured the way they are? Is there any rhyme or reason to what's happening? I know it's a contact sport.
Well, most of them haven't been in contact. Yeah, we pulled a hamstring, it's running. You had a dislocated shoulder, it was doing an individual drill with no pads on. Really, the injuries that have happened have not been related to playing 11-on-11 tackle football. They've been more related to individual injuries that could happen to anybody. So we're dealing with those, and you have to deal with them. It's part of the game. I hate to say it's part of practicing. I mean, you have to practice. And we could change and go to total walkthroughs, but we wouldn't be ready for any live speed when we got to September 4th, I'll tell you that much. So you got to do what you got to do. And it's unfortunate that it has happened, but we really have only had, I think, 4 full padded practices. So, I mean, we're almost every day in half pads or just helmets.
How's your offensive lines? I think 3 of the 5 were potential starters. I think 3 of the 5 weren't in the scrimmage the other day.
But that was down to 0 today. So.
Oh, jeez.
It went in the opposite direction. But really, I mean, they're going to be fine. I mean, everybody is going to play, including Art Munoz. It's just a matter of when they're going to be able to play that is the issue. So I think that we're handling them with care, but we also would like to get them back as soon as possible. But whenever that might be, it could be next Monday. It could be as late as next Tuesday or Wednesday for some guys. So we're playing it day by day with almost all our injuries. I think all of them will at some point in time be ready to go full speed and hopefully by September 4th.
Have you had a chance to go over the tape from the scrimmage?
Yes.
Did anything jump out at you on that? Because I know the defense got a lot of the headlines impressed, but what came out with you after looking at the tape?
Well, the reality is exactly what we just talked about. I mean, there was 3 true freshmen playing at one point in time on the offensive line. That's gonna hinder your opportunities because on offense, if one play side player makes a mistake in his assignment, that play is not going to be very effective. I don't care what type of offense you're running. And on defense, if one guy makes a mistake but he makes it at 100 miles an hour, usually it's a rallying cry, and you can rally to the football and make up for the mistake. So there are some individual assignment and technique mistakes that cause us not to be very efficient on offense, but there are also a lot of positives played by individuals that allowed us to look at Leffy, who James mentioned, that did some very good things, some things he can take away from that and say maybe he's closer to being ready to play than we anticipated. Just because our 11 guys didn't solidly play well doesn't mean certain individuals didn't show well. And really that's what you have to look for in this situation. We know that Joe Coleman and Josh Hines, the other 2 freshmen, they're a ways away from being able to play for us. But there are other guys that we look at and say that they're probably closer to be able to play for us than maybe we anticipated.
Hi, Coach. In a scrimmage, obviously, since you're both sides of the ball, it's hard to – you're probably not going to be happy one way or the other because if the offense scores 10 touchdowns and you're disappointed with the defense and vice versa, the offense doesn't score, you're happy with the defense. So, how do you walk out of a scrimmage and be happy, I guess, and pleased with what you see out there totally?
That's one of the reasons I decided not to coach a position when I became a head coach about 20-something years ago, because if the offense played bad and the defense played great, my message was usually sour to the entire group, even though the defense played extremely well, and vice versa. The offense played well, and you guys are great, but that's what I coach, so therefore you defensive players need to get better. Well, I decided to step away from that, and I think I've learned through the thing. I mean, you have to give good, solid, honest impressions of what you saw, and I think we started with that, and that's why we don't try to be too detailed right after we watch something, because we're going to watch film and things may look a little bit better than they did on the field to the naked eye. And I think the message was pretty clear, though, that defensively I thought that they played extremely well as a group. I thought their effort was great. I thought they tackled much better than for a team that really hadn't tackled a lot in the open field. I thought they tackled well and played with a great spirit to the game of football. And I think offensively we made enough mistakes that really hurt us, whether they were assignment mistakes, ball mistakes, or penalties. We had 6 or 7 penalties on the offensive side of the ball that kind of hindered them as well. But the message to them was step up and compete. A year ago in the spring, everybody was saying, what about your defense? Because the offense scored 4 or 5 touchdowns. Well, here we are 3 months later with basically a lot of the same guys, and all of a sudden things were a little bit different. So I think that there's good and there's bad to every day of practice during camp. Usually one side's going to win and one side's not going to win. I think my job is to be as honest and as positive as I possibly can, letting them know kind of where they stood for the day so that they can improve upon that the next day and look at the film with the proper eyes and the proper mentality that we will get better. But the bottom line thing is we have to evaluate you and give you an honest evaluation of how you played. And then on Sunday, each Sunday, I give a sermon of the mount to the team. This is where I think we are. This is what we need to improve upon. And this is after watching the film. And that's on all three areas, the kicking game as well as offense and defense. But I think, being positive solves a lot of problems. I think our players are very receptive to that, and I think that they understand that, certain guys didn't play up to an acceptable level at the level that we want to play at.
Judging from the offensive performance, would you say you're concerned? You feel the team's going to be fine? You've got some skill guys that were not playing on Saturday. I mean, overall, in terms of offense, what do you need to do here in the next 12 days or so before Humboldt?
I mean, I'd be not being honest if I said that we got to get healthy. I mean, you're talking about Dominique Johnson, Eric Gardley, Mark Rogers, and 4 offensive linemen literally did not play on Saturday. So the evaluation is how far away or how well did the newcomers play? How well did the guys that are going to be seconds play? And like I said before, maybe some offensive linemen didn't play great, largely because of their inexperience, but other guys played well. I mean, there's guys that did some things that, because you get 1 yard, somebody says, well, that's a horrible play. Well, it could have been one person making a mistake play side that caused that to happen, and everybody else did the right things. And that's why we're able to say that Leffie did some good things, Jeff Hyde did some good things. So I think there's some people out there that we looked at and said, wow, there's some good stuff happening here. So as far as being concerned, yeah, because I think you need to play with, from the timing standpoint, you'd like to be able to play with your best 11. But in the game of football, that's almost impossible. Very few teams do it. And the ones that are able to stay healthy, Villanova, for example, they started the same 22 players in Game 15 that they started in Game 1 last year. And that probably speaks volumes as to why they won the national championship. Last year, we did not play with our first offensive line one game, not once the entire year. And that's going to hurt you. There's no question of that. So we need to get our guys healthy, and we understand it. I think that we're not having very physical practices, but unfortunately that things happen in this game, even at practice and individual drills, and we just have to make sure our guys are doing the right things to get healthy as quickly as they possibly can.
The players that you mentioned, as much as you can, when do you expect those guys back? Will they be back sooner than later?
Well, Mark Rogers was an NCAA thing. As of tomorrow, he's 100% eligible to be tackled and do whatever. And he can practice today because we were just in shoulder pads and helmets. So he practiced the entire day today. He had a great individual session on Saturday, so he's going to be closer, and he'll get better every single day. So I would assume that you'll see some good things from Mark on September 4th. I think Dominic Johnson is just day-to-day with his hamstring. Eric Gardley's day-to-day with his groin. I mean, there's a lot of day-to-day injuries. Will Mitchell now, Eric Winneweiser hamstring, Will hamstring. Giovanni Sani is going to have ongoing problems, issues, because he's had shoulder problems for about a year and a half. So that's going to continue. Mo McClure will be practicing by next Monday. So we're going to get the majority of those guys back. But anytime you take, we're talking about probably 3 to 4, maybe 5 guys have a chance to be first-team all-conference players that didn't participate. So how worried am I? Not that much, because I think when the bright lights go on, they're going to be good. But for Dominique, for example, he's not going to play in Game 1. He can't. So, he has 2 weeks left. He has 3 weeks left to get healthy. So I'm sure by Montana, we'll see a very healthy number 9.
How about Houston?
Jared will be fine. He's day-to-day as well. So, all the injuries, all the injuries that we're having are day by day. And with the exception of Mo McClure, we've decided next Monday is his day to return.
Any decisions yet as far as starting quarterback, fullback, kicker? Those are...
That's pretty tough to do considering they were both on crutches today at practice. So they're also hurt. Even though they finished the scrimmage, they have minor dings, and they're probably going to be day-to-day as well. And so at this point in time, if we were playing today, Doug Shumway would start a quarterback. And I would assume that those guys will get better, but it's unfortunate that after playing and waking up on Sunday, they were pretty sore, and they had some things that need to get taken care of, and so they're going to be on the shelf until they can go. We're not going to push the issue with either one of them.
Like bumps and bruises or more?
They're injuries. So we're going to wait and see how they progress, and we would assume by next Monday that both guys will be practicing. And if it went like that, to be honest with you, it'd be pretty tough to make a decision. And I have never, ever, in I don't know how many years I've coached, 31 or 32, had played with 2 quarterbacks in the first game, but that would be a probability based on where they are right now.
As far as what you've seen from your kickers, field goal kickers, still up in the air too, open competition.
It's open competition. I think Jake West has done some very good things. James Langford has a tremendous amount of talent. His kickoffs, I do believe he can get balls out of the end zone. He doesn't quite have the hang time that Jake does, and he's working real hard on his the height of his PATs and field goals, which I think was drastically improved today. And I think that, like I said, Jake has had a better spring. But Jake's deal is when he gets his opportunity in the games, he's going to have to take advantage of it, because if he doesn't, then the other guy is going to be ready. And we probably don't need to make a decision on who truly is the kicker until we go on the road that first time, because they can both kick at home.
Okay. And just as far as, two local recruits, KJ and Kevin, to kind of update us on where they stand right now and just what you've seen the last couple of weeks.
KJ, we haven't seen too much of, and that's unfortunate. But he probably is going to be next Monday as well as a target date for him to get out there. But we're real excited about what we did see. He's got great quickness, just like we thought he had. He's probably a little bit stronger than we anticipated, which is a good thing as far as doing it. He's going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as having any playing time this year. Kevin Britt's done some really exceptional things. We think he's fairly raw, that within a year of being under getting some coaching that we think he needs and doing things the way we want him to do them, that he's got the ability to be exactly what we thought, as a tall corner that can be very competitive. But we would look for him probably to redshirt this year.
We always talk about Andre and Tony in the quarterback battle. Just kind of talk about what strengths Shumway has and, why he's impressed you this camp.
Doug Shumway is one of the better athletes on our team. I think the things we asked him to do over the summer, was to work on his throwing motion and be able to get the ball from point A to point B in both directions, and we think he's done a tremendous job of doing that. I mean, the option part of the game, I'm not saying he's the best, but he's equal to the task. He's got great feet, he's got great acceleration, he's got good speed. So Doug will be fine, and I think that he's a lot more athletic. When I walked in the first day a year and a half ago and looked at him, I was wow. But then you watch him, and he's got a lot of the traits that we would like to have at the quarterback position. And he's worked hard at the things that were his weaknesses, and feel very strongly that he'll represent us very well when he does play, or if he does play. And he did a good job at practice today, and he's got great huddle mechanics and energy that I think is infectious to his teammates too. So I think he's got what we're looking for. He may be just a step behind Andre in being able to run the football, but he's very close. And again, with Tony throwing it, he's probably not the thrower that Tony is. So I think that's what puts him third, but he's good at everything that he attempts to do, and I think he'll do a good job for us if we call on him in the first game. Yep.